All right, while we're waiting for glue to dry, I've got my drill press set up here and I've got my table set to where the travel on the quill, I don't really have a depth stop left on this thing, but the travel on the quill is all the way down, and that puts me a nice little countersink in there for some nice little flathead machine screws. And this is what I'm going to use to hold the handles on. So here we go, we've got our countersunk, and I've got just a T-nut drove in the back. And I did put that up on a block so that my force was centered here and I didn't run the risk of blowing something apart. We're too late in the game now to do something stupid. So here's a drawer pull, and it's just gonna thread right on there and get all these done, and then we'll start fitting drawers. Okay, when I say fitted, I realize that probably scared some of y'all. No, we're not going to be really getting real precise with this. Boy, I still got some wet glue on there. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm just going to knock the fuzz off the bottom of this, any high spots that I see. Okay, that's good enough. We just don't want something sticking up an eighth of an inch. That's about good enough. Next, we're going to go over to the table saw, and I'm going to set her up like so, and I'm just going to run her along the rip fence and just rip it off. Boy, that's ugly. I'm just going to, ugly. I'm just going to rip it off to make it fit into the carcass. That's all I'm doing. I'm not getting fancy about it. It's as long as it goes into the carcass and has less than an eighth of an inch of play in it, I'm fine. If we were building something really nice for my wife or something, I would individually hand fit every one of these drawers to within a 16th inch margin. But honestly, if I do it that fine of work for something I'm going to use out here in the shop, it's going to get all galled up with sawdust and grinder dust and filth, and the drawers are just going to cease to work right. They're going to be all jammy and bindy, and we don't want that. So I'll reset the camera, kind of show you what I've got set up on the table saw, and we'll go from there. Back at the table saw now. I had to take the knobs off. I don't know why I thought I should put the knobs on them. Anyway, I took the knobs off. And all I'm going to do is just run her in through here, and I'm going to do all four sides, being careful to keep it flat, true, square, and shoved up against the rip fence. And all the while not getting my hand in there in the bitey spot. That's where fingers go to die. So anyway, I might just get me a chicken stick and stick in there. Anyway, we'll get all four sides done. Here's the drawer we just got done whittling on. We'll go ahead and put the knob back on him. And now, the way I'm doing these knobs, not any kind of rocket science, but I am trying to clock my grain direction up and down, and then clock my screws at 45 degrees. I don't know, maybe I've got OCD. I don't think David Crowder's beard will fall out if these aren't all clocked the same, but it catches my eye when screws aren't clocked the same. It kind of, I have some issues with that. if I ever come to your house, and you better have all your pictures level, because I don't like pictures out of level either. So there we go. And while we're over here, if you can see it in the camera, I took the time to just take a block sander and just went in here and knocked these leading edges down, especially the bottom leading edge and the side edges. The sides aren't as important as the bottom, because we don't want our drawers to have a catch on the bottoms of them. You know, we've got a surface right here that's got a 90-degree angle on it. I want something just kind of funnel it up in there. And when we get over to sanding, when we sand this, I will kind of round that edge over just a hair or two. And I'll probably knock this inside top edge off as well, just to make it go in the holes easier. But we'll do that here in a minute. So I've got all of these fit to the holes. These up here on the top are just a hair tighter than the ones down on the bottom. I don't know how I did it, don't care. Anyway, we're talking like a 64. There is just a little bit difference in margins. Of course, you know, nothing's straight, nothing's plumb, nothing's level. But I do have a pretty nice reveal, or consistent reveal, around these drawers. You do want, if you're going to build drawers like this, you do want plenty of give that way and not much that way. You know, we're talking 3/30 seconds up and down, and almost an eighth side by side. Now out here on the front edge, you can make this as tight as you want. I mean, right there, we're probably about a 30-second give, or a margin there. And it's not terrible consistent. I mean, it's almost tight. It's all over the place. Like I said, this thing rolls around. It's got a 300-pound welding machine in it, a air compressor in it. This thing's going to shake, vibrate, get racked, twisted, probably dropped. I don't know how. Might hit it with a car. You don't want to make these tight in this situation. If you was building a china cabinet for your wife, or a chest of drawers for her jewelry or something, and had 45 little bitty drawers in there, yeah, make them tight. If you're going to have exposed joinery like this and making them go into an exposed hole, make them tight and pretty. But this don't matter. So I am going to take all these drawers out and fool around and right on the bottom of the drawers which hole they go on, and then each hole I'm going to write a number in there too, if I can find a pencil. I can't find it. That's on the screen. I got a pencil somewhere. Oh shit. Oh, hey, I found a pencil. Cool. Now I think I'll go hit some of this stuff with sandpaper off camera, and we'll go up and flip this around, and we'll start putting it back on it. Here's the view from the back. I've cut my stop blocks, or back stops, whatever you want to call them, and I've just got them laying in here, kind of flushed up at the back edge. I just want to make sure before I go gluing and nailing everything that everything's where I want it. And, you know, I've kind of went back and forth, looked and figured and looked and figured, and, you know, back and forth, and I think I like it this way. So I'm going to get all these glued and nailed in there, and we'll be back in a few minutes. So here we are, about to close her up. I have reached my hand up in there with a Brillo, or a Scotch-Brite pad, a nasty looking one, and a little bit of finishing wax, Now, this stuff kills Californians, and you're supposed to wear gloves and not breathe the vapors, and I don't know what all you're supposed to do, but so don't just smear it on with your hands like I do. But I've reached up in there as far as I can get my arm up, and I've coated all 4 sides of every drawer opening. Just enough that I can see that there's wax on the grain. It takes a bunch of wax to do this. But, you know, you're not going to be able to get back in here once the back is put on this. And you don't necessarily have to put a back on this, but it does give it a lot of strength. And it's going to keep the dirt and the dust and the filth out of there. So I am putting it back on this. Another thing you can see I've done is I have just taken a router with 3/4 inch, a bad looking 3/4 inch dado bit, slotting bit, and I've just cut a slot in each one of these partitions. The reason for this is these drawers, I mean, they're not terribly tight fitting, but they do fit fairly tight in the hole. With the back on this, when you shut the drawer, there's nowhere for the air to go. And it's kind of weird. You actually create sort of an air cylinder, even with a 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch margin. Even with a 1/4 inch margin, you will create an air cylinder. And it's not that the drawers are hard to close. They kindly are. It's almost an anti-slam feature. That's kind of neat. But the worst part about it is if there's any dust and dirt in your drawers, which there's always sawdust and dirt in the drawers, if there's any crap in the drawers, as you're shutting it, the air will blow it right out in your face. And my goodness, that is just, I don't know how many times I've had the drawers in my old service van would blow crap out in my face because I didn't put anywhere else for the air to go. So we're going to try this. I'm sure it's going to help some. If I'd have had a lot of smarts about me, I'd have figured out, cut me a little slot in there about 10 inches from the end and made a port or something. And that way I would have had free travel for a while, and then right before it hit the back, it would have created an air cushion, and it had been cool. But hey, this is just something for the shop. And I've marked where, on the top and the bottom, I've marked where all of my structure is. That way I know where to nail it at. And I'm just going to nail the back on this with some staples, Narrow Crown staples. I'm not going to get fancy and try to glue it. My God, I don't know how I'd ever get glue to stay up there. I guess I could F26 it, but anyway, I'm just nailing it on. We get that done, I'll spin her around, we'll look at it from the front. Okay, a quick word on how I do this. And I'm not saying this is the right way, the wrong way, it's just the way I do it. You want to make good and sure that you've got plenty of wax on your sliding surfaces. So what I do is I just take a glob of wax, put it on my Scotch-Brite pad, and just rub it in. Again, you're supposed to wear gloves when you handle this stuff, but it's okay. When I get done, I'll go wash my hands in a bucket of gas or something. So just smear it on there. Really, that's all you got to do. Now, the plywood bottom is actually recessed about a 1/2 64th in this, but I am getting a little bit on there just because I am. But you want to work it into the grain, and don't be stingy with it. You know, I'm not Mike Newberry. I don't have to hang on to the first nickel I ever made. So, you know, as it starts running out, just work more into your Scotch-Brite pad, and you can kind of feel it working around in there. Oh, this grain is actually kind of pretty on this one. And you can see it's kind of darkening up the grain. And part of I didn't sand that out. I should have, but I didn't because I'm lazy. And part of the thing with this Scotch-Brite pad, doing it like this, is if you've got, it just helps it to work down into the grain. I think it makes it look better on a wax finished project. And if you come across some grain that's a little bit fuzzy, which, I mean, this is not a good example of fine woodworking, but if you do come across some fuzzy grain, the Scotch-Brite pad actually helps to smooth the fuzz out. That's probably why this Scotch-Brite pad is so cruddy looking, because I've used this same pad for I don't know how many years. When I'm done, I just put it in an old wax can and seal it up so that it doesn't dry out. And you know, there you go. But you can see how it brings that grain out. I think it looks pretty. I think it makes them drawer pulls look pretty. I like the way that it brings the grain out on these box joints. And the great thing about a wax finish is, you know, you can never really screw it up. Whoop, 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 drop it on the floor. Make sure that you've got a foot of sawdust laying in the floor. That way everything you drop in stays nice and good and clean. But, you know, a wax finish, you can't really screw it up. You know, it's not hard, it's not durable, but the wax does work down into the wood. And, you know, on good furniture, fine furniture, the longer the piece ages, the better it looks. And it looks right. It looks pretty. So anyway, there's that drawer. And I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but I really like the looks of that grain on these box jointed drawers like this. So there's that. So there's our finished project. I'm kind of pleased with the way that it turned out. Everything came out about as good as I wanted it to. I've got a few other little piddly things to do. I think I'm going to put me an outlet box with a switch on it, or a switch somewhere, to switch my little Forney welder on and off with. For whatever really weird reason, probably something to do with having to ship it to Canada, the stupid power button is in the back. And that's, I mean, you can kind of reach around and get to it, but that's unhandy. I don't like that. It needs a switch on the front of it. I might take it apart and drill me a hole in it or something and put the switch on the front. Other than that, I like the little welding machine. I might even convert over and put me a 4-wire 220 volt outlet over there on the wall instead of a 3-wire 220 volt outlet. And then run me a 4-wire pigtail up to this, and then have a little 5-shot box or something on this cart, to where I've got just a small, you know, couple of 20 amp or, well, 15 amp, couple of 15 amp and a 20 amp outlet here on the cart, to where I can just plug grinders and stuff straight into an outlet on this. I think that'd be a little bit handy. I don't know. I might get around to that in 20 years. Probably not going to rush on it. I've been thinking about building a cart like this for a long time. Just now getting around to doing it. So here we go. It's been 25 years of thinking of it. Okay, time to get it done. I am happy with the way it'll come out. It'll take me 10 years to remember where the heck what's in what drawer. And I'm going to be doing this for a long time. My little relief that I cut in the back of that really does help a lot with the dirt blowing out in your face. The drawers shut nice and easy. Very little effort to push the drawers shut, and that will get better with time as that paste wax works in. The high spots get worked off. The drawers will get easier to open and shut with time. I might give it another coat of paste wax here in a day or two. I mean, that's the thing with a wax finish. You're really never done putting wax on something that's got a wax finish. I like it. Some people don't. I don't know what else to say about this thing. Thanks for following along on this project. It's been a long, drawn-out ordeal, especially this video. This video is going to be a long one. Next project, I think I'm going to make a cow liquor case for this old boy that lives up in People's Republic of Chicago. He got caught behind enemy lines when Illinois fell to the communists. And anyway, I feel sorry for him. It would be hard living in the middle of communist-held territory. Anyway, we'll be working on that project here one of these days. I've got a bunch of other projects coming up. Got a lot of work coming up, paying work that I've got to go take care of. The weather's fixing to change into springtime, and it's about time to go out and make some money. So you might not be seeing too many posts from me here in the near future. With that being said, thanks for watching. You all like, subscribe, share, comment. If you got any questions about this, hey, comment. I might tell you to go eat a bug, but, you know, at least say a comment. Anyway, y'all drive careful. Watch for deer.